All right. Hey, everybody. Jonathan Kersing here with the Tech Vibe Radio One Mic Stand, also the Pittsburgh Technology Council, continuing to bring you all types of cool and fun conversations happening in Pittsburgh's technology ecosystem. So much fun going on here today. StudioMe's hanging out with us. These guys put together what I'd say is one of Pittsburgh's premier places to go do podcasts, record video, and they make it accessible to everybody, which I think is just so much fun. And I'm talking to Keith Parrish today, and of course with Joe Lechko. Did I pronounce your name right there, Joe?
Leachco.
Leachko. I was close.
Yeah.
I was close.
Yeah.
I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. But guys, thanks for taking the time to talk to me today. And first off, I'm going to give you the official Tech Vibe Radio One Mic Stand Award for the coolest set. It's as simple as that.
Yes. Well, if we screw this up, then we really don't know what we're doing.
Exactly.
So,
it's gonna be professional. It's gonna be professional as far as that goes. And so quickly, just give me your backgrounds real quick and what led you to form what I think is truly unique in Pittsburgh, having a studio that people can rent and use and get your assistance with to produce high-level podcasts, high-level video, and how that's also then now changed obviously through this whole coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah, go ahead. So my name's Keith, and I've been doing video production since I was a teenager. It's just something I've always loved. I had a passion for it. And when I graduated school, I started a small video company, and it just kind of grew from there. And I met Joe a couple of years ago, and we hit it off as really good friends, and we wanted to start a business together. We sort of saw how the video industry at that time was changing, and we were looking at different business options of what we could do, and we kind of came up with this model, opened it up in 2016, and here we are.
Oh my goodness, it's 2016. Wow, it's been 4 years now. That's crazy.
Yeah, the time is flying. We were just talking about the other day, and how everything's going on. It kind of feels like our second year into it with everything that's happening versus going into our fourth year, you know. So I went to school for industrial design at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh in 2010. I graduated, and so I'm in the architectural world. I do marketing environments. So I work with a lot of media agencies and everything to put together big marketing trade shows or marketing environments for clients who want to tell stories. So that could be, I work with a ton of Fortune 500 companies, a lot of pharmaceutical companies to help bring their brand to life. So it was kind of cool that, you know, Keith and I could kind of combine forces of more of my corporate marketing side with the branding and architecture as far as designing this place and put up the branding, and then all of his tech and know-how when it comes to the video production. So it's kind of like a really nice match right there.
Absolutely. And what I love, your studio is like right in the heart of East Liberty. Like you're there, like you can, it's so accessible. Yeah. And I think as you started this, it was right at that time when like everyone knows you got to have high-end video, you got to have high-end audio for anything that you're doing, but getting that, it's like impossible. And you're bringing that to the people to actually make it possible, which I think is just so cool about your concept.
Yeah, it's when we initially wanted to put it together, you know, we were realizing that the barrier to entry to, you know, making high quality content was pretty low, but at the same time, people didn't know what to do with the equipment. They would think they'd have to buy the good equipment, but they didn't know how to properly set up their own studio and you know, and figure out, you know, what the levels are to the audio and everything. So, you know, we felt that, you know, why don't we create studio environments that could help people do that without having people to invest in the big money to make, you know, high quality content. So that's when it turned into all of these studios, just like the studio we're in now, and you can do podcasts or video podcasts in here, that, you know, people don't have to know how to understand how all this operates or anything like that. They can operate everything off of this iPad that's in between Keith and I. And, you know, how we can make that easy for people, cost effective, and, you know, make really good content. So
that's what it's all about. That's what I'm
going to throw my cousin under the bus here for a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw my cousin under the bus here for a second. So she just called me last week, and they were trying to set up a live stream. So her husband plays in a band, and they wanted to do a live stream. So she bought a webcam and a computer and a microphone, and was trying to set all this stuff up. And they ended up not being able to figure out how to do it. So they were calling me with all these, you know, technical questions and problems. And that's a perfect example of you know, the technology's gotten to the point where it's affordable for a lot of people to do it themselves. But to have some, you know, place like StudioMe where there's staff support, we have everything, you know, engineered to where you just push a button and it's ready to go, and you don't have any issues.
That's what we're striving to get towards, is something that's that easy. And so, you know, if she lives in Texas, but if she's here in Pittsburgh, they can just hop into the studio. You know, we do the studios hourly, or other studios 2-hour blocks, and you know, we give you a quick rundown on how to use the space, and people that have never used the studio before end up walking away with professional looking content.
That's what it's all about. That's just so cool. That's why I love your concept so much. So, I mean, obviously for the during this whole crazy pandemic, this has changed. People can't come into the studio right now. So you've had to kind of change up how you're doing business in the short term and maybe medium term. But I know you guys are super innovative. You've been finding some ways around that, and still helping people create content despite not being able to come in to be in the studio directly with you guys.
Yeah, we so when this initially happened and everything, you know, obviously we're forced to shut down our public space, you know, the storefront. So that obviously that kind of stopped us dead pretty fast as far as the incoming work. But we were finding opportunities to, you know, edit existing content for people that might have been filmed at their house. Kind of help the existing clients that are always asking us to do a bunch of editing,
Okay.
having our employees work remote, you know, to stay safe and keep them on. And but then we found an opportunity that we were realizing a lot of companies are more apt not to going into businesses and kind of do that face-to-face engagement anymore. At least it'll be a slow progression to that. So, you know, when it came to sales or it came to high-end presentations, people were, you know, they wanted more than just the webcam on the front of the computer. So, you know, we thought, well, why don't we start consulting and building people their own studios at their businesses? Because people are now second guessing and looking at their real estate and how people
Right.
are in their office space. You know, how can they save some room and just have people work remote, you know, and save a little bit of money on the per square foot. So you know, they actually now have more room to create studios like this. And so we've actually had a pretty big interest in creating these studios and consulting with companies about building these studios. And then, you know, with our self-guided studio, where everything's operated off an iPad. So the lights, the camera, the backdrop, the teleprompter, everything's off of just touching buttons on a screen. We can now do that remotely via internet. So we can build somebody a studio in Ohio, and they don't have to touch anything inside the studio. They don't have to worry about it. They just call us up and let us know when they want to go either live on maybe it's a presentation or a webinar, or they're pitching to someone, or they're doing a production video. We can operate the camera, the lights, focus the camera, the audio, everything via internet here in Pittsburgh. So they basically wouldn't have to worry about figuring it out themselves. It would be a service that we're selling to people.
It's
so,
like a touch-free service, man. Come on. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, I could see that just growing in popularity. I mean, even in a world where we were still able to hang out closer together, this seems like such a smart service to offer folks, because to be able to, you can expand your business wherever you want, because through the internet you can be anywhere in the world, and you can actually help people record. So you've been super innovative and found probably a whole new business line for yourselves here, even as we get back to quote unquote business as usual. That's so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is a lot of businesses, because everybody's working remote, have all this extra office space. So even if you don't you know, have us build you a remote studio, we still recommend to create a little media space for things like this, like a Zoom call. Even you know, if you want to have a higher end business presentation, or do a demo or training or things like that, where, you know, you might be presenting to a larger audience, you want a space that's well lit, that sounds, you know, good, has good audio, and has just that a little bit of extra professional touch that's going to get people to really, you know, tune into what you're saying and stand out.
Very cool. If I could add things to my studio, I want glowing lights in the background the way you have it. That's cool.
Yeah, and you gotta get the media.
And I want to say media too. I love it, man. I think that's so cool. That is so cool. So what else is on tap for you guys? I mean, obviously I know we're all looking forward to, in the next months or so, getting people back in and actually interacting with each other. So hopefully people will be coming back into the studio, and you'll continue to be doing work, you know, remotely as you've been doing. What else are you guys prepping for?
Yeah, so I mean, we're appointment based anyway, so it's easy for us to regulate the amount of people being able to come into our space. And you know, as we're, you know, going into the yellow and going into the green and stuff like that, we'll be able to bring in people safely and have the social distancing, and being able to find out what our weeks and days are going to look like when clients come into the space. So that's been a big kind of pushed for us lately, obviously, to follow the guidelines of the state and everything. So we, wear the masks and, set up in front of us right now. We have our, we have our wipes and we have our hand sanitizer and everything. And, constantly wiping down the high touch surfaces that people are interacting with. But, it's a lot of our existing clients are reaching back out to us. They're reaching out to us on social media, emails, text messages. They're asking when they can come in and start creating content again. So, it's bringing them back in safely. And then also working on these self-guided virtual studios with other clients that have interests and start, consulting with those people. So other than going back to business as usual here inside the studio, we're looking, for the future of how people are going to be doing business in other industries and how we can help them.
That's because you're innovative. That's because you're in Pittsburgh. Put those two things together and magical stuff happens. Simple as that.
Yep.
That's why you guys are so cool.
I think Zoom is moving here because of us.
It might be. I mean, I heard you were one of the attraction factors, knowing that they had access to you guys.
Yep, they heard it.
We don't know where they're setting up offices yet, but I bet you it might be somewhere near East Liberty. We'll have to find out.
I hope.
Anything that we didn't cover today? Because I always want to make sure I can get every point out that we possibly can, so people can know everything that's going on with StudioMe. So anything else we haven't covered that you know?
This year, it's, if people have questions or they want a virtual tour, we've been doing a lot of Zoom virtual tours of our space to get, to give people the understanding of what their capabilities are inside the space. How can we relate to them and help them going through their pain points of, marketing their own business and creating that content for it. But yeah, I mean, we help everyone that needs to make media, and literally everyone's their own kind of little media creator when it comes to, if you're a professional speaker and you need to, start promoting yourself, to an educational platform where people need to make a lot of videos for libraries that they might sell as a service online, all the way up to larger businesses who need to maybe have interviews or testimonials or any type of examples like that. We're always here to help people out. If they have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.
That's what it's all about.
I want to add too that we've actually been pretty impressed with some of our clients, coming up with creative ways to create content even in this environment. So, whether that's like, we worked with a company called Seeger, they do self-driving vehicles, and we just made a whole video about them reaching 3 million miles, all with stock footage, all with animations. Joe just filmed a live Zoom wedding this past weekend. So
very
different
cool
services like that. Just finding creative ways to utilize what's out there. And, so we're impressed every day with not just what we think of, but what our clients think of as well.
Absolutely. Well, I'm impressed with what you guys are up to. I think it's just amazing. And I think it just goes to show you guys have some serious tenacity here and you're not stepping back, regardless of a pandemic or anything else crazy going on out there. StudioMe exists. It keeps going, man. Very cool.
Gotta keep moving.
Hey guys, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk. We'll put your website in the credits and the liners here so people can reach out to you, get that virtual tour, and start creating content and do some good quality content too, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Jonathan.
You guys are the best.